to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Streams of Income podcast, and I'm David Powers, and I'm glad you're here because this is a good friend of mine that I met through the Membership Freedom Mastermind group, and some amazing people in there. And I'll tell you what, just for giggles, because it's a Streams of Income podcast, I'll put the affiliate link to that group in the show notes, and that way you can join me and Jason and get some of that expert Jedi level knowledge that we throw down in those group calls. So, Jason, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at in the world, because I see daylight behind you, so that means the time zone is relatively normal.
Yeah, I'm not too far out away from you, but thank you for having me. I'm glad we got to catch up finally. So I reside in Minnesota. It is minus 20 right now outside. It is frigid.
It's only like 40 here.
Yeah. I tell Vincent, like, I don't even know why I live in this state, but it's pretty most of the other times of the year. But yeah, it's very cold. I have three daughters and a foreign exchange student at the moment. So my house is very full and busy. I'm engineer by trade. Work for myself doing engineering and a few other things, which I'm sure we'll get into. But that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Yeah, sounds good. And before, lest we forget, also a jiu-jitsu aficionado.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you meet Jason in a dark alley or something, don't go to the ground. Keep it as a stand-up fight if you can.
Yeah, we like impromptu wrestling matches. So, yeah, anytime, anywhere, I guess.
Oh, man, all those daughters, man, they get ruthless. They get mean because they know right where to hit you.
For sure. That's why I find myself to the garage on occasion. Y'all handle it your way.
Yeah. All right. So, excuse me, an engineer by trade. So are you still, I know a little bit about what you do, so I'm just going to kind of ask some pointed questions. Are you still working for like an engineering firm or anything, or like that's in the past and gone and you moved on to something new now?
I don't. I started that path as a corporate engineer it was up until 2020. And I could just feel like myself not liking going to work. I hated like driving into work. I hated everything about it. And I was like, man, I'm just like I don't know. Like at that point, I had never put my finger on why I did not like it. I thought it was something wrong with me at the point. So at 2020, it was kind of like the breaking point. I turned 40. Maybe it was a midlife crisis. I don't know, or maybe it was what was going on in the world, but I just was like, no, I'm done with all this. So I broke off onto my own in 2020, August of 2021. I said, I'm done with this. And so that was my first
Did you do a send-off like that where you kind of just like threw everything off the desk and said, screw you guys, I'm heading home?
Not really. Like I wanted to, but I'm like, I have those moments where those thoughts crop to my mind. I'm like, yeah, I should probably not do that. As I get older, I'm less inclined to kick over desks and things like that. But so that's kind of what led me to working for myself. And it's been great. I don't miss the corporate politics. I don't miss the schedules. If I want to take a day off, I ask myself, and I usually grant it. So,
with the engineering stuff, you've I'll tell you what. Just go ahead and tell us exactly what you do now, like your business name and all that, before I get into some of the prepper questions.
Sure. It's just called Illum Design and Innovation, and I don't really have a website or anything like that. It's just me, mainly word of mouth. And so mechanical engineer, so I can design anything from, I've done robotics to boats to trolling motors to snowplows. So just about anything people need built, I can take it from a napkin to production. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the word of mouth thing is awesome too. I mean, that way you're not having to worry about ad budgets and Facebook ads and all that mess.
Yeah, it's been great. And I imagine we'll touch on it, but it's one of those jobs at the moment that's my time sitting at the desk equates to a time or amount of money. So that's kind of the model that I think we both are working to get away from. But at the moment, I'm grateful for the work for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and me and you kind of bonded over talking about like safety rooms and bomb shelters, and of course the John Wick man cave kind of thing going on. So is that something you're wanting to move into a little more?
Well, so I had been just to back up on that a little. I'd been approached by a connection to run that company. It was a storm shelter company. We wanted to branch into safe rooms and things like that, and so I came on kind of as a president of it just to see if we could revitalize it. We have since decided to close that. It was a difficult business to run, and we actually owned the design and then just sold it to contract manufacturers. But it's for a few reasons, we decided to close. It was easy to replicate. We had to manage contract manufacturers. It was a little tough business, but it's still an interesting topic that we looked into as far as like luxury safe rooms, but just felt like where we both wanted to be didn't really fit like our lifestyle. So we made the decision to close that just like in the last month or so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's all changed since we talked about that.
Yeah.
So are you still thinking about going that route with safety rooms or anything, or just only if it comes up?
Well, it was a very interesting topic, but I don't think so. It was yeah, like I said, it was just tough to manage, tough to deal with. Like if you want to design and install something, you've got to have some contractors, you've got to have reputable contractors and things like that. And we both, me and my partners, decided like where we're trying to go lifestyle wise doesn't fit. The model isn't what we want to do. So it was just kind of a mutual decision to say, this isn't it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, my dad's he's an exterior remodeler, and he was old school, and so basically just built his business, and it's him. It's he's the job.
Yeah.
And unless you have some good managers and all that, you're just constantly on the road and constantly answering the phone, and takes the fun out of making what little bit of profits you can eke out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're both kind of in the same, like this, and this wasn't a skill that I had previously in like evaluating and saying no if it doesn't fit a criteria. It was just like, both being entrepreneurs, we're just kind of like our ADHD got the best of us sometimes. We're like squirrel, so we saw this, we're like, looks good, but then like, I think our discretion is just like, this does not fit what we both want to be doing. We're both about the same age, and so I think that being able to say no quickly and just pull the plug or not do something is a skill that I'm really thankful I learned a little later than I'd like to, but
yeah. No, I mean that is a big skill that I guess the last few years I see it everywhere. People talking about how to say no or how to say no and keep them as friends. I mean, just all the different business topics like that. And it is hard because if you're a go-getter and an entrepreneur, people know you're going to get stuff done, and so they always come to you instead of anybody else.
Yeah. And like I said, I learned that recently. I was not always like that, and I found myself like trapped in situations or businesses that were very difficult to get out of. Had I just said no or this doesn't fit, I would have avoided that pain. But a lot of great lessons came from them. But yeah, like I started a jiu-jitsu academy and opened a franchise of a home service business in the same year, and built my own house in the same year, and like all those things. Just it was terrible and great at the same time. But I wouldn't advocate for doing anything like that again.
Yeah. I mean, any one of those could be successful and make you a lot of money, but all those at the same time, that's a little rough. And family, trying to fit family in between each little, spot of time.
Right. And none of them fit. None of them fit what I wanted, So
yeah.
Which I guess I learned that through that process was like, you have to just find that first, that's got to be your litmus test, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So, what streams of income are you doing now, or is it like you finally dialed in where it's just the engineering?
At the moment, I just do engineering. I got rid of the Jiu-Jitsu Academy. We closed our franchise again for the same reasons we got rid of or got out of the storm shelter business. And so, yeah, I'm doing engineering, and I'm working towards kind of like that membership model that, um, that group that you referred to that we're in, is kind of the way I want to go. Because I think you and I are probably pretty similar on how we want to work. Um, at the end of the day, I just want to be able to, go outside and cut down wood and, play with my animals or hunt or whatever, whenever I want, and be able to work with whoever I want when I want. And so that really has kind of led me to prune off some things and to just really focus on what's like the next step on in my path. And really, it's just about like I never like put my lifestyle as the forefront. I always just put like, this is what I have to do. This is what, and some of it's what I need to do. I have kids I have to support, but as I kind of get later in my career, I feel like you got to be lifestyle focused and work around that. And so that's kind of why the pruning has to take place. Sometimes it's forced and sometimes it's decided, but at the end of the day, I think I just want to be able to do what I want when I want and make money.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, my experience with engineers, like I said, through my dad's business, like he's on the coast down in Myrtle Beach, and so he has to have a structural engineer, like he builds sunrooms and stuff, and so every single one of them has to have stamped engineering for that. And they have never, as much as he goes to this company, they've never had any kind of membership model or anything. It's always one off, like $500. Here's the engineering for this sunroom, for mainly wind code, hurricane codes and everything. So what kind of, I guess, availability is there within engineering for like recurring income or a membership? Because I'm not familiar enough with that industry to see where I can picture that.
There's not a lot really. And quite frankly, I'm interested in moving past engineering. I've almost like reached the point of, it's been fun. I like it as a creative outlet, but I don't, it's not something I can see myself doing a long time from now. I always think about that, but I don't think there is really.
Yeah.
I wish there was.
I read a book a while back. I think it was The Architect Entrepreneur. Yeah, I probably should have got it off the shelf before we started talking. 'Cause I was trying to figure out, because my dad's getting older, because of the way he built the business, he can't sell it because nobody wants to buy an 80-hour-a-week job where you barely make anything. Yeah. And so I was trying to search up ways to do recurring income for him, or at least income off of what he's already done, like the plans and the engineering and everything. And there's this dude called The Architect Entrepreneur that wrote some books, and he's pretty neat. But he's gone the same route most of us have, like trying to monetize YouTube, trying to create planned books, that kind of thing. But
yeah,
that still feels very traditional. I mean, it's almost like you have to find a way to break through the mold somehow to do that.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting topic you bring up, because that's kind of the direction I've been heading. With my memberships is just like. And it's been like a long process too. It's like, how do I combine all these things that I know, like my proclivities? Engineering like is very process and system driven. Like owning a franchise is like, I've really thought about what you just said, like, because I've been interviewing a lot of these like entrepreneurs similar to your dad, like home service companies, and like that's kind of what the focus I want it to be on is these guys like build a business, but it's just them. It's like, so how can they grow it into something that can be sold, or that they don't have to run 80 hours a week? And that's kind of the direction that I'm starting to head, is, like, how can I help those businesses in that way, using kind of what I know and in my experience in engineering. It's kind of become an odd pairing, honestly, but
yeah.
Yeah,
and I
you're
read
right.
every book I could find on that topic too, as far as gearing up a business to sell it. And I mean, he's been trying to sell it for years, and I've tried to, I've listed it on all the websites, that kind of stuff, to do what I could to help him. But it's a hard road to go.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get somebody to want to buy a job. It's tough to do, especially when it's something that you could start on your own.
Yeah. That's the thing. Start on your own and without all the, well, I mean, the kind of business he's in, all you need is a pickup truck and a few tools, and that's it. Redneck Randy and the remodeling crew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least
For
what you're
sure.
doing though, I mean, it requires education and licensing and everything, so people can't just step into that. I mean,
Yeah.
the easiest thing they could do would be to steal your plans and all that, but I mean, even that's copyrightable, isn't it? When you do plans and everything.
Uh, you can have it protected, but it's tough to enforce it anymore. And that's become one of the biggest challenges in engineering, and one of the main reasons unless you're like really specialized, anybody can really duplicate, especially now with internet. Like a company could go out and hire Indian or Chinese engineers to make a model or designs way
Okay.
cheaper than they could pay me,
Yeah.
So it unless you're like very specialized or something like that, like that's kind of what you're competing against. And so you get to a certain point in your engineering career, it's like you're not really learning that much. Unfortunately, you kind of know your craft. Um, and unless you're like very focused, you're fighting with that kind of overseas virtual engineer problem. I see it a lot
Yeah.
actually. You tell
Okay.
somebody, here's your rate, and they're like, well, we can find somebody to do it half that. Okay.
Yeah. I guess the only way those guys have my dad is it's got to have a like county stamp and everything on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good for the engineer. I mean, at least it protects some local business because it's a little
Yeah.
harder for one of those foreign guys to get a stamp and everything.
Right. Right. And I've been a licensed professional engineer for quite a while, and so I could technically do that. But again, to me, it sounds boring as hell. Much like you just send me the drawing and I just stamp it. It's yeah.
Yeah,
To me,
that's basically what he does.
yeah.
Yeah, he's paying $500 just for they'll print out the calculations and stuff, which it's the same calculations every time, and they
Hmm.
basically just replicate his drawing on the computer.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do
Yeah.
it, but
Well, if you need quick money, it's a good way to sell your soul for a little bit if you need some quick money.
yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yep. So, with what you're doing and everything, I mean, what areas are like your kids and your wife and everything leaning into? Are any of them in related occupations, or are they just like, man, I don't want to do what dad's doing?
Not really. No. I mean, my wife teaches nursing at a local college, so she's in a completely different, um, a very flexible job, which is definitely fitting our lifestyle. So that's kind of why she chose that. And my kids are still young. I've got one in college she's going into aviation. Actually, she just has
Oh, okay.
got her private pilot license, and so she's doing that. And so yeah, not really. It's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. My kids are not very entrepreneurial focused. Like one of my boys is working for my dad in the construction company, and the next one down is in welding school. He's still in high school, but he's doing the welding program, like dual
Nice.
enrollment, and he enjoys that. Enjoys building stuff and playing with fire, things like that.
I wish I would have went that route because I'm way more hands-on, and you can make just as much money as somebody that went through engineering school. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. With the because I'm near Clemson University, there's a big engineering school there for my state, and looking at those kids spending several $100,000 for that 4-year degree, and then the tech college next door is spitting out welders and auto body techs and stuff like that,
Mhm.
making more money.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I would have, but what do you do?
Yeah, yeah. The best we can do is encourage our kids to think better than we did.
Yeah. Yeah, and like align what you're doing with what you actually like. I never even thought about that, which is pretty stupid of me. Oh, I guess I never considered I'd be at a desk most of the day. If somebody said,
Yeah.
well, here's what engineering is, I'd have been like, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we were looking at a Venn diagram of your life, I mean, of course, occupation and skills on the one side, one of those circles. What kind of hobbies and stuff do you get into?
That's a great question. So I like to bow hunt and jujitsu, and that's about all that my schedule allows. I chase my kids around to all their activities, but um, I'm really interested in helping people. I think that's been a part of my life for a long time, and I've always thought of that as like in a not so much in a nonprofit business role, but in like serving the underserved of a community. But it really can tie into what we do for a vocation too. And so I've like really been thinking about how do I put a voice to what I know that might help someone else? And so that's it was always an outlier to me and never a core part of what I want to do. And so, it'd be like, okay, let's, like we build beds for kids in our town. And so it's like that was always just kind of like a side project. But then when I really started to consider like service can be a bigger part of what you do. It could be part of your everyday life. Like I think about myself a few years ago. Like I was owning a business on the side doing engineering, and like as a business owner, I was like it was a struggle, right? Everyone that's owned a business knows how much of a struggle it is, especially when it's a side business. So then I think about me 3 years ago and like how could I better serve that person out there that was me? Like I know exactly how that person feels. And so not, like that's kind of where I'm at, like in that Venn diagram, like service is a huge part of it. And so then, how do I tie that into to share what I know, in pursuit of serving others, is kind of the biggest part of where I'm at.
Definitely. I mean, that's why I always ask that question. Not always, but usually ask that question because it's that intersection of hobbies, passions, and the skill. I mean, your vocation usually where you find that magic thing God's got planned for you.
Yeah, and that's been I think a lot of people go through that too, David. It's like it's a very frustrating process. And I was actually talking to somebody else in the group about it. It's like it's sometimes cruel, like the process that you get to that point. Like things taken away, things given. You know what I mean? Like it's all part of it. I truly believe that, but sometimes it can be very frustrating. I always like I'm almost like jealous of people that always had a thing and like that's what their thing is. And now I'm like 43 years old and I'm like, you know what? Why don't I have a thing? Like, but I know it's there. It's just a frustrating process for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And you never know. I mean, until it's there when that preparation period is over. Like,
Yeah.
Finally it's here. It's arrived and now I can do this thing.
For sure.
I was talking to a buddy of mine from church the other day. He was a crew chief on a Black Hawk and got busted up pretty good. So when he came home, and this is a couple years ago, he having trouble figuring out what he wanted to do, and he had this job offer from it's a ministry that they have a lot of thrift stores, and so they use the money from the thrift stores to help men's groups and homeless and all that. And he had a job offer, but the job offer wouldn't pay the mortgage and everything without his wife having to get a full-time job as well. And the day he was having to make that decision, he got a letter in the mail that he'd gotten approved for 100% disability from the VA, and which comes with all the health insurance, free car tags, and a healthy monthly stipend. And so that was like his bell ringer. I mean, with that disability check coming in, he could take this job with the ministry and put everything into it and didn't have to worry about money.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I wish I had sometimes, like, a letter from God saying, do this and everything's going to be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's never laid out beforehand for you. It's just like, as you go, it's happening. And you're like, why is it happening this way? I don't understand this or what, like, where am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to be doing? And I've learned a lot about like just being open to things, like, being part of a group or, wasn't really part of what I thought I should do. Actually, you interviewed one of my friends, Chris, last, who I was in his mastermind for quite a while, and that really kind of.
Oh, you're talking about Neymar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so so that group like really helped me kick into gear. Like life is short. Let's start figuring this out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always amazed when I talk to people too, some of the mutual friends we have, like these different alumni clubs that we come from as far as masterminds and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how the circles intersect. I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, how does this guy know that guy? And that, like, and we're in completely different groups. And
yeah.
But I find like
cool sometimes.
Yeah, you almost become magnetic to the right kind of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're in the right circle, it's like, oh, this guy, they're all the same. You know what you're getting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the nice thing.
Yep. But, yeah, the like that book, The Secret. I mean, as a Christian, I don't fully ascribe to all the stuff that's in those kind of books, But the attraction stuff, I mean, if you build a certain kind of life, you will gravitate towards certain kind of people, and they'll gravitate towards you a little more. I mean, it's just natural that that happens.
Yeah, I believe that to be true. Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely believe
yeah.
that.
Cool. Well, I tell you what, if do you want people to be able to get in touch with you or anything, or because
Yeah.
since you're kind of not on your new thing yet, but like engineering stuff, do you want me to put out a website, or you said you didn't have a website, but you want me to put out any contact info or anything?
I'm on Facebook. That's about it. That's about where people can find me.
All right.
Pretty low
Yeah.
key.
A free listing on Facebook for your business.
Right, right.
Yeah. Cool. I tell you what, before we close out, I always have one final question I ask everybody. If money weren't an issue and you had to do, or not had to, but you could do one thing for the rest of your life and you think you'd be happy doing that, like your dream stream of income,
Mm,
what would that be? Something you've already done or just something completely new?
wow. That was not a question I was prepared for. If money was not an issue, what would I do for the rest of my life? Wow, dang. I've always been intrigued by like helping people in under like in third world countries building like infrastructure and stuff like that. I have a
Yeah.
good friend that runs a thing that builds wells in Africa, and so I always thought it'd be kind of cool to do that. Maybe that.
Yeah.
I know it
Yeah.
would be in
But that,
service.
and that would be a type of engineering that would have you hands on in the field too. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, yeah, serve a couple purposes.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I asked that question, and sometimes people are like, I'm already doing what I want to do. I just don't want to have to hustle so much. But
Yeah,
other people are like a completely new thing that they just felt they never had the time or anything to get into.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Like
oh, look at
if
this,
I
man.
had
Let me spin my camera around real quick. My basement office faces outside, and we've got a neighborhood donkey
oh, what
that
the
just
heck?
roams the neighborhood. He just walked up in the yard.
That's
But
crazy.
man, if you go out there with Twizzlers, he will come over and hang out with you, and you can
No
pet him and
way.
everything.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, so a squirrel. I just got distracted by a squirrel.
That's funny. No, but I mean, like on the same lines, I think the dream list is what I alluded to earlier. It's like if I can make money helping people in like this membership model, serving people in business, and then a lot that allows me to go do whatever I want outside, then
Yeah.
that's kind of like that's a dream scenario to me. But it's hard. Like I'm programmed to the corporate world, and
Oh man.
I make myself take naps in the middle of the day just to break free of like this. I feel like 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock I should be here, and I like it's a tough thing to break. So anyway, yeah, my dream list is I just want to be able to go outside, hang out with animals, cut some trees down,
Yeah,
hunt.
doing man stuff just for
Yeah,
fun.
doing man stuff, making
Yeah.
fires, things like that.
Now I'm assuming you've got a home office too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's I. Thankfully, I'm on 5 acres here, like a little farm, and so yeah, I've got alarms set and everything like to just to remind me to get up and walk outside, even if it's just to go see if the donkey's out in the front yard or something,
that's
just to
awesome.
get out of my office.
Yeah, I just got to move somewhere warmer because 20 degrees below zero, I can't go outside. It's too cold. So
Oh man, it takes
it's
15
just too
minutes to
cold.
get dressed up to go outside.
Yeah, it's crazy. Maybe
Yep.
someday.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I like it here because I mean we don't get much snow, which I wouldn't mind a little more snow, but just enough of a change in the seasons that you can enjoy it. But a little hot in the summer makes my
Yeah,
beard get all frizzy and everything with the humidity.
that's funny. It's a
Yeah.
glorious beard, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you. It at one time it was down to my belt, and I used to enter
Whoa.
beard competitions and stuff. But weird problems like it would get caught in the seat belt and stuff when it's that long, or
Yeah.
you'd be riding a mountain biking and it'd blow up in your face.
No working around rotating machinery.
Oh my goodness! I actually knew a beard competitor that his beard got caught in a drill, and it actually ripped a bunch of skin and everything off. Yeah, so yeah, weird problems.
Dang. Dang. I'll
Well, I'll
not
tell
have
you
to
what,
worry
man,
about it.
I'll let you go, and we can get back to wrestling those daughters, or show them who's boss, whatever you got to do.
All right, man. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for being with me.
All right, see you.
Hey, everybody, I just wanted to mention one last time before you go. If you ever want to do any brainstorming, let's say you listen to one of these podcasts and you thought to yourself, Dave, that was an amazing guest. And your interview questions were so thoughtful and introspective and inspiring. It made me think about something new, but I don't have anybody to talk to about this. Well, that's what I'm here for. If you ever want to do a brainstorming session, I don't charge the same price for those that I do my regular coaching sessions, because the coaching sessions are, that's like a long-term thing. I work with people and hold their hand and tons of homework, stuff like that. But if you ever want to just get on a call and do some brainstorming, I love doing those. I love meeting new people in different occupations, things that I don't know anything about, and have them tell me all their secrets, all their goals, all their dreams, and we brainstorm new income ideas. And you know what I really like? Let me tell you a secret. One of the things I really like doing is helping people see how they can make additional income or create new income streams based off of things they're already doing. In other words, don't add another job. Don't take on another part-time job. Don't add 15 side hustles to your existing income streams, or stream, if you're possibly in a full-time W-2 job. What I like doing is brainstorming with folks. It's like my specialty, and helping them figure out how to make money, more money, new money, sometimes passive money, with things they're already doing. And so if you want to do a brainstorming session on something like that or anything else, I mean, I don't mind talking about anything. Getting your kids into entrepreneurial stuff, trying to work with your spouse because they hate entrepreneurial stuff, whatever you want to talk about, click the link below. It should be in the show notes. I said below. I'm not sure how you're watching this, but it is in the show notes, whether those are on the side, below, or somewhere else. But check the show notes. There's a link in there for the $99 brainstorming sessions. And, if you want to, feel free to email me. Ask me if it's the right fit for you before you book, whatever you want to do. But just be sure to get the help you need to make sure that you're able to take those next steps toward your income streams.